Hi everyone. Let's see. Okay, yep. Good to go. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube like changed something for some reason. And now I see y'all's like at usernames now instead of just your channel names, which is just so strange. Such a weird change. So user, I don't know who you are. I think you might be four because of the profile thing, but I'm not totally sure because I can't see on this end. Actually, maybe Streamlabs knows. Yep, four. Okay. Good old Streamlabs not letting me down. Okay. So we're going to be doing our community read again with our Chubby Witches Night In. And then I'm going to be doing our regular reads with the Black Femme Tarot, which is just so funny because Robin from Robin's Reflections just swore like she was living the fantasy that this is like one of my all-time like put a gun to my head kind of decks. I would choose this, but it's really a mood deck for me, and I'm in my cozy era right now, so I want to use it with you guys. All right, so if you guys weren't aware, yesterday was our, well, for most of us, at least in the northern hemisphere, and in like the US, I'll just generalize that way, was our new moon. So we are currently in the new moon energy, which is new beginnings, setting intentions. So let's see what kind of energy we have around us as a community. Let's see what we have for our community read. This came up last week. That's so interesting. There we go. Put this up. So this is the Be Prepared for Anything card. Sorry, it's not wanting to focus today, but this is the Be Prepared for Anything card. I think we had this kind of general message last week about that was part of our overall message, if I'm recalling, of going with the flow and just letting things happen how they're gonna happen. And then we have Midnight Matcha. I love this because the moon is out. She is just basking in her safe space and just overall enjoying something that is very comforting to her. And so I relate to that. I have my wine for the night. I hope you guys have something comforting for you this evening. But I think that this is a sign, just, you know, taking our energy from last week and pulling it into this week. We still have that same go with the flow energy. Try not to be pulled in any which way because of things that are happening, and find moments to enjoy the things that you truly enjoy. Hi everyone. I'm so sorry, by the way. I know you guys are just joining. YouTube changed something, so I see you at your at usernames instead of like your channel names. So I'm so sorry if I don't refer to you as like the normal thing I would refer to you as. I have no idea what's going on, but I see Sunshine and New Love have joined, so welcome. Let's see what our last message is. This feels, I mean, obviously this is the cozy, this is a Chubby Witches Night In. It feels like overall very cozy vibes, but our last card here is to learn to be a little flexible. As a Taurus, I don't like to be flexible. I like to be right. So sometimes I think that this mirrors a lot of the go with the flow, where sometimes not everything is going to go our way, and we need to be a little adaptive, be willing to reflect, and just overall be adaptable to the things that are happening around you. And I would say, like, if I were to zoom out and some of the stuff, it feels very much like, don't take things personally that are happening. And to get through this weird, turbulent kind of thing, just kind of find the things that you enjoy. Enjoy your matcha, enjoy your wine if you're me. Um, enjoy some personal time with yourself so you can kind of let things just roll off your back as they happen. Especially as we are entering, a lot of us, I won't say a lot of us. I have a lot of viewers from all over. Oops, I put these cards in upside down. Interesting. Um, just as we go into the holidays, being pulled in every which way. Like, for example, I ended up turning down two birthday events today because I was just burnt out from work and I needed some me time. And selfishly, I needed a bit of y'all's time too. Enjoying doing some readings and kicking back with a glass of wine with you guys is also some of my reflective time. So I just didn't want to give that up. I know, being flexible is hard, Luke. Like, other people should be flexible, not us. Now, hot son, I won't say that because just in case anybody's listening. But I do enjoy these times. I only go live once a week, so like I enjoy my times with you guys. All right, let me read off who I have in the queue. And then I already got this deck all warmed up. So first off, we have Floor. Go ahead, put your question in the chat. I have Hot Sun, New Love, Sunshine, and Sani Abada. If you would like a more detailed reading, you can use exclamation point mini or exclamation point. Oh, there we go. There we go. Clicking the right things. The wine hasn't even kicked in yet. Or you can use exclamation point full. So, so if you're curious about any of that, feel free to check it out. And just for more detail, my mini readings are 4 to 6 tarot cards plus an oracle card, and it's just gives you a little more depth and insight into what you're asking about. And that's about $10. And then the full reading is more tarot cards, and you kind of have the chance to ask some questions, and that's about $25. But off of this nasty business of capitalism. Let's see, let me make sure. Okay, it's so hard now, like with this change up. I'm gonna change the design a little so I can see y'all's questions a little better. I think I like this. You guys are seeing me muck around. Thanks, Luke, for keeping me honest. Alrighty, Ford, let's get this all shuffled for you. Again, this is our Black Femme Tarot. Very excited to be using this. So let's see what message you have from your guides. All right, we have the Ten of Cups and the King of Swords. I'm just zoom a little bit. I think overall you have a really good message from your guides. So Ten of Cups is really the card. So tens in general about closing a chapter, but reaching that end goal to a degree. And in this case, the Ten of Cups is about feeling like you have achieved emotionally what it is you set out to achieve. So I feel like your guides are saying, like, that is on the precipice of things happening. The Ten of Cups is a little bit slower moving, but the King of Swords is a lot more here and now. So it feels like you're on the right path to getting to the point of feeling very much emotionally fulfilled. feeling like you have achieved the things emotionally that you have been wanting to achieve. And there's almost like this sense of pride um, in this card that I see, and this sense of confidence over here with the King of Swords. So obviously, this deck is the Black Femme Tarot, so our king here is very feminine, but the king has um, the kings in general imbue that air energy. The swords imbue that air energy. So there's a lot of like internal movement mentally, things that are on your mind. And overall, this is formulating a lot of confidence, or it should be starting to formulate a lot of confidence that helps form this little cycle here of this Cups and King of Swords. The King of Swords is very cerebral. Um, they are the ones who are the not visionaries, but they are the ones who like see something in their mind's eye, and they are so sure of themselves to go ahead and conquer that thing and go and reach out for that thing. But they're also very logical in how they do it. It's not an emotional thing, whereas this feels like it's leading to emotional fulfillment, but you're not wearing that on your heart sleeve. That's not the driving force of it. It's more of a mental thing for you, where you're logically setting out your game plan. You're logically envisioning what you want your future to look like. And I think your guides are saying you need to have a nice, healthy balance of like having goals that are emotionally fulfilling, but not using those emotions to get there. So, thanks for subscribing. Sophisticated. That's cute. But yeah, I think you have a really great message from your guides here. Lean into this King of Swords energy. I think it'll help you along this path. And oh, that's really big for you. Yeah, I think if I were to like pick out some key things for you, lean into that confidence of the King of Swords. Understand you have the intelligence to do or meet whatever goals you're setting for yourself, and just use that to apply actionable things for you to meet those goals. Alrighty, up next is Hot Sun. Do you want an extra tarot card or an oracle card today? I'm so sorry you've been struggling I know it's been a little rough, and the darker times of the year can be a little stressful. I think people, seasonal depression, the stresses of like the holidays, and a lot of people travel and this, that, and the other. But yeah, Hatsan, I hope that this is a sign that your guys see that even if you don't feel like you're on the right path, you have the tools to be on the path that is right for you. Thank you before I get your reading, Hatsan, I'm going to open this up. Turn off subscribers only, so my subscribers got an early chance here, and now I'll open it up to everybody. Okay, let's see. General reading about you and D. Being my lovely mod, I'm going to pour 4 cards for you. All right. Put this here. So this is a specialty card in this deck. Let me look at the order here. I'll talk about this first. It's kind of at the end, so I'll circle back to it, of course. But because it's your specialty card, I weigh these specialty cards similar to I would a major arcana. So this is like the focus, I would say, of your reading. Your soul tribe is the people around you who are important to you. They give you guidance and confidence. They are your core group. They're your like they can be your actual family, your found family, longtime friends who at this point are family. They could be new people that you just hit it off with so much that they are important to you. These are important people to you. And I think at the end of the day, if I were to zoom out and look at this, I think that this being at the end of your reading is kind of saying like, however things are going, at the end of the day, does your crew, the important people in your life, how do they feel? And I know this feels very weird to say, but like if you're wanting um you know things between you and D to be something that is long standing and not just something superficial, how do they truly feel about it? And does he fit into the picture of what you see as your group, right? So just keep that in mind. We'll kind of get to that. And I think a lot of things will touch on that as we get there. So we have two things here. Or two court cards rather. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Swords. In the center, we have the Six of Cups. So the Knight of Pentacles might be D. Queen of Swords might be you. Kind of talk through it and just let me know if I have that backwards. Excuse me. The Knight of Pentacles is the perfect balance of the knight energy, but with the element that the suit imbues. Pentacles are very slow moving. They're that earth energy, so there's a groundedness. Sometimes there can be a little stubbornness. I mean, I guess if I have to admit that out loud. But, there's a little bit of rootedness here with the Knight of Pentacles, which can sometimes be a little frustrating to people if they're wanting things to move at a certain pace. But I think that the good thing with the Knight of Pentacles is knights are very ambitious, and when they set their eyes on something, they're going to work their way towards it. The Knight of Pentacles is the least impulsive of all the knights. Maybe a little bit to some people's detriment, but maybe to the benefit in that you don't rush through things. There's more time to let things like marinate and grow and just become. Hi, Luna. We'll see if Queen Luna would like to join her live stream. So I really like seeing this here. Conversely, we have the Queen of Swords. Queens have that water energy, which is a little slower. Swords are a little faster, but very internal. So the Queen of Swords is very good at finding an intellectual connection between her mind and her emotions, and knows when and where she needs to focus her ability to nurture and grow things. So I feel like there's a really great balance here in that there should be a little bit of advancement with this, but then there's a little bit more like focusing with the Queen, and I think that's how they play off each other. The Six of Cups is emotionally about feeling. I feel like you've told me about D, and I'm so sorry for not fully remembering, but like the Six of Cups can manifest in a few different ways. One of them being like either a person that you've known in your past that has resurfaced, or that you've gotten to know in a different light, or there's someone who brings out like your inner child, where you almost feel like you can be a different way around them. You can be things that almost things that are pleasant to your inner child, so to speak. And the Six of Cups also has this air of nostalgia. So I feel like maybe there are things about D that really just spark some like happy memories for you, whether it's with D or just in general, and it makes it feel like they can fit into the full picture. So I feel like overall in general, you guys have a really good vibe. It's just about growing a little bit more together, right? The Knight of Pentacles, Knights still have a little bit of growing to do. The Queen's not necessarily, but I think there's still a little bit of growing that needs to happen. Ooh, you met through work, Pentacles. Okay. Um, but I will say this slow and steady thing is probably very good, especially since I'm glad you mentioned that since you said you guys met at work. I don't know if you still work together or not, but um I think that if you do work together, taking it slow and, kind of feeling out the waters is probably the smart thing to do. But at the end of the day, it's up to you how you handle that. And I think that, as you feel things out, as you start to make this picture a little more solidified, um, bring it back to how they fit into the life that you currently have with the important people that you have in it. Oh, you just met through work not too long ago. Okay, so you guys probably still work together. Hi, Luna. You want to say hi? Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Hi, Ruby. Thanks for helping, mods. Yeah, that's right, Luna. You tell them. I'm going to just give Luna a mic and let her do the rest of the readings. All right, New Love, you are up next. Luna said, hurry up. You're welcome, Hot Sun. All right. New Love would like a general reading. Is that okay, Queen Luna? Okay, let's do it. Let's see. General reading, Luna. Let's see what we're going to pull for New Love. Oops. It's very much harder to shuffle with a cat on your lap, by the way. So if you hear me like messing up over here, that's what it is. All thanks to Queen Luna, who wanted to join us tonight. All right, let's see. General reading. We have the Knight of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Okay, we have upgraded from the Knight of Pentacles to the King, but we still have a Knight here. It's an interesting balance here. So we have the active energy of the Knight of Wands with the very mildly rooted energy of the King of Pentacles. And hi, Dorella. There we go. Hi, Dorella. So I feel like in general, there's a few things. Like the Knight of Wands is great because I mentioned before, Knights are very ambitious. They are very, very good at setting their eyes on something. But the Knight of Pentacles sometimes struggles with impulse control. Very, very impulsive. The Knights imbue fire energy, Wands imbue fire energy, and it's just a lot of movement. And it's really, really hard sometimes for the Knight of Wands to focus. It's not always a bad thing, especially when you're like really wanting to find a spark and find something that's interesting. It's great to have a lot of ideas, and it's great to have a lot of passions, but sometimes there's going to be a need to focus, and that's where the Knight of Wands struggles. Another thing that's happening here is the Knight is facing and moving in the opposite direction here as our King. King is facing forward. There's a lot of like present dayness that's happening, and there's this, like, I want to say this struggle to make changes based off of the things that have happened previously in the past, maybe in the recent past, maybe just things that have been hanging out for a while. And it struggles with the desire of the King of Pentacles to want to set down roots and really focus. King of Pentacles is about building prosperity, building stability, and it directly what's the word it's in direct opposition to what the Knight of Wands wants to do. So new love, I would say, like, if your takeaway would be to find a balance here, right? Where you can have all of these things that you're interested in, all these things you're focused on, but you find a way to focus it and grow and nurture and really focus on one specific thing. And then you can go back and find those other things and then focus on that specific thing and then grow it again. So it's like a cycle where you can use the maturity and stability of this King of Pentacles to take the things the Knight's interested in and actually plant them and make them and realize them, make them a real thing. So just be careful about falling into the impulsiveness of the Knight. But it can be, yeah, one thing at a time, and not necessarily one thing at a time, but like focus it in some kind of way that makes sense. Kings are generally a very rational, the most rational of the court cards. They like to think through things, and the King of Pentacles likes to think through things that can provide the most stability. So when your Knight is in opposition to that, like, lean more into the King and remind yourself, like, okay, this is all great. Maybe I'll make my list of things that I want to do, but like, these are the things that will be useful for me to do right now. And it doesn't have to be one thing, but it could be things that are related, or it depends what all of that is. And how much bandwidth you have, I guess. Exactly, Luna. That's exactly it. All right, Sunshine, you're up next. Let me read who I have in the chat. I have Sunny Bada, Luke, Sophisticated, and Dora. So remember, I don't do third-party readings, y'all. I saw maybe when I was doing a reading, I saw some comments. I won't do, like, is some other person doing something, planning something, thinking something, feeling something. If it's not about you and your specific, like, actions, I'm not going to do that. So rethink your questions as we get up to it. Thank you, Luna, my backup. You're welcome, new love. So this question has a lot going on. I don't know if any other readers have told you this, but I like to focus questions so that way you get as clear answer as possible. There's like 3 elements that are coming in. There's the, like, what's happening, and you can't see my hands, but like, what's happening in love down here, what's going on with a stable relationship, and then the near future. So near future puts the tightest parameters on here. This puts another parameter on here. And then this is like the crux of what you're asking about. If you put too many parameters, you start to get fewer answers. If that's what you want, I'm happy to do that. I just want to let you know so that way you're empowered to ask the questions that are truly meaningful to you. So you get the answers that are truly meaningful to you. So let me know, Sunshine, if this is the way that you want me to ask your question, and I will or won't. Let me know. Okay. We can make it general, and this is the best way because I always look at readings as like a constant conversation. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Readings to me are a constant conversation. You ask a question, you're presented with answers, you think about it, and then you reassess what further questions you have based off of those um answers. So in this case, you might get an answer what's coming in love. You might get a hint as to a time frame. You might get a hint as to whether it's stable or unstable. And then you can dive in deeper. If you're really, really questioning what's like how to get to the point of a stable relationship, that's a different question. So just letting you guys know that I have elevated into trying to empower you guys to ask the right questions, and I want you guys to get you wait for my time, and I want you to get out of it what you can. Let's see. You ready, Luna? Okay, so let's see, sunshine. Ooh, we have Temperance and the Page of Wands. We're getting a lot of court cards in these readings here, which isn't bad. I like to point out when I'm seeing patterns and stuff. It's fun for me. So Temperance is the card of like balance. I feel like in terms of like what you're asking, it almost has this air of patience that has to happen as well. So if you this could look like a few different things. When it's asking you to be patient, it could be insinuating that you're currently not being patient and you're doing a lot of things that are almost counteracting the work that you have put in previously, or it could be a sign like you are being patient and you just need to be patient a little bit longer. So the good thing is you have Temperance, you have Page of Wands, both fire cards. And what's interesting, hold on, let me look this up. I'm so bad with astrology, guys. Sorry. All right, Luna, let's Google this real quick. So the Temperance card is the card of Sagittarius. We just entered the new moon in Sagittarius. I don't know if you're witchy or not, but I feel like that's kind of a sign, so I'm going to point it out. This might be a good time to work on your manifestations, work on the things that you want to bring towards you. And I think that this could be a sign that you could be attracting a Sagittarius towards you, because we also have this mirrored fire card in the Wands. So this is our Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is about something exciting coming. The pages can be our messengers. So it could be a sign that you're going to, this could be your message that someone exciting is coming into your life. The thing that I don't see here is whether it's something stable or not, but I do see it being something that it feels very much more near term than long term. So the page, though, I guess I don't want to like overgeneralize, because it's only 2 cards, but the pages tend to be a little more inexperienced, maybe more of a fun time and not a long time. Intuitively, that's kind of how I feel, but I don't want to like read too much into it with only 2 cards. So I do feel something is coming your way. I feel like it's coming your way soon-ish rather than later, and you just need to be a little patient for the time being and kind of let the things that are in the universe make their way and let them happen. Alrighty, Sanibata, you're up next. You won't be bored. That's so funny. It's really funny. Yeah, I mean, the page. You're so welcome, Sunshine. The page can manifest in a few different ways. It could be like growing together. It could be like more fun time, not long time. So it could be a few different things. So take that part of it with a grain of salt. But um, I feel like you'll know once you get there. Ruby, that's so funny. I feel like when Sill's not here, I need someone to be my astrology translator because I'm just not good at it. It's my kryptonite, y'all. Like I try to commit it to memory in various different ways, and it just does not stick with me. There are only certain signs that I generally remember, and they have to be a few degrees of separation from me. All right. Mm, we have the Nine of Wands and Eight of Cups. What's new coming for you in career? Are you are you trying to pivot careers or sort of make big moves in terms of where you're at in your career? Because you have the Nine of Wands, which is about being resilient, but the big one here is the Eight of Cups, about kind of emotionally needing to walk away from things, and and in doing so, you're letting go of certain things and allowing yourself to really just clean slate, be able to see things that are ahead of you, because you're no longer burdened by the things that you had initially uh, considered. Okay. So you're trying to stay in your field but get a new industry. That makes sense. Okay. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be the easiest path. It's not going to be the hardest path. It is going to require a lot of resiliency from you and a lot of active energy. So I feel like this is going to require you to be very diligent in how you move. The nine wands in general, high energy, a lot of movement, and you have to be willing to put that in order to get anything out. On top of that, I feel like in this journey of switching industries, if that's how I'm interpreting this, you might have to pivot here and there. You might have to, like, in your applying and interviewing and all of that, I think you might have to let go a little bit of what it is you truly thought that you would like, and what it is you envisioned, what it is you're emotionally connected to in terms of how you envision the future. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think this kind of mirrors what I tend to believe and have personally experienced in terms of applying for jobs, especially outside of your direct field of what you're doing. So it's just about being resilient. Applying for jobs sucks. Applying for jobs should be a job. Um, but I do see it being beneficial as long as you're able to kind of push through that little hump. So I think with the Nine of Wands is really good indicator that, nines are right before the tens. The tens kind of close out chapters. So I feel like the Nine of Wands showing up here is a sign like you're in the last leg. Don't give up. Things might be a little discouraging from time to time, and you might have to walk away from certain things from time to time. But if you're being resilient enough, you can finally close out the chapter and find something that you're looking for. So I guess I'm sorry, I realized I sort of partially answered your question. Your question about what's new. I think what's new is how you are handling and approaching your job applications, and how you're um willing to pivot in times of new opportunities being presented to you. Alrighty, Luke, you are up next as my lovely mod. You can choose from an extra tarot card or two, or oracle card. Or if you'd like a bone reading, I can do that too. Oh, see, you're like me, Ruby. You're welcome, Sanibata. You're like me, Ruby. Like, I need like there's like 3 degrees of separation. Like, I remember my sign, remember my mom's sign, and I remember certain friend signs. And anything outside of that, I don't know. You're a goat person. Who am I to judge? Actually, I'm judging, but okay. Let's see. Energy check on T. So I know next week, while I do this shuffle here, next week is Thanksgiving in the US. I should be here on Friday still if you guys are here. So don't forget, hit those notifications so you know when I go live. All right, let me get your cards out. Nope. Weirdly felt like flipping that one, apparently. Last card. One more. Here we go. All right. You have a special card here that popped up. This popped up last time. I vaguely recall. These are spirit guides. I'm going to pull this out because it's a recurring theme for you. I'll talk about it in the end, but it's a pretty obvious card. So we have the Two of Swords, the Hierophant, and the Seven of Pentacles. Quick question. Does anyone else in your like friend circle or anything like that know who T is? Oh my god, I just shared Ruby. I literally just shared a TikTok with my friends, and it was literally about a Taurus like talking about people at work, and I was like, why was I doing this? So it's so funny that you're saying that. I mean, I try not to judge them, but they do things that weren't judging. Who am I to not judge? Okay, so I just wanted to check because the Hierophant can be about finding, like, confiding in people and getting advice from people, which isn't necessarily wrong in this instance, but it felt more like this is only something you should do if there are mutual friends who kind of understand both sides. But um, I see then the Hierophant as, you know, being in the after pulling this out, being in the center of the reading, the Hierophant feels very much like building up structure and I don't like to use the word tradition when things are new, but building up structure and setting boundaries. That's the word I'm looking for. Setting boundaries in terms of things. If that hasn't been done yet, I feel like you guys need to do that. Like, you know, talk about those things. You know, what are expectations and what things work and what things don't work, or what are you good at, what are you bad at? You know, be a little vulnerable in those things, which can be hard. I'm fully admitting that I'm telling you to do something that I would struggle with, but I feel like with the Hierophant, it's really about creating that structure and that really the foundations of what it is that would work for you both. The Two of Swords indicates to me that there's some decisions that need to be made between you guys. Um, so I feel like things are a little nebulous, where that neither one of you has decided on any which thing, and there are still things you guys need to talk about, communicate about, and decide. And until that happens with the Two of Swords, you don't really get to the Seven of Pentacles necessarily, which is possibly somewhat the goal, not maybe completely, but the Seven of Pentacles, at least the Pentacles in general, have that air of stability that you're eventually wanting to get to. The Seven of Pentacles in particular is about hard work. This is about being attentive, and literally this is a person tending to their garden, and that is really how you should probably look at the relationship. Is it's a garden. You guys have just built the garden beds, and you now need to plant the seeds, and you need to decide on what you want to plant. And then you need to decide on, well, you've already decided, right? In the scenario, my crazy little scenario, you you have need to decide on what the garden's going to look like. You need to determine the size of the garden, stuff like that, and then you need to tend to it. So think of it that way. And then at the crux of everything, you have your spirit guides. I feel like I'm not going to dwell on this. This is something we've always talked about, and it pops up regularly in your readings. Is about, utilizing your spirit team when applicable. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. Don't be afraid to lean on them in times where you're a little unsure. And a lot of times when we need to make these decisions, it's very easy to be unsure about them. So, whatever way you're comfortable with reaching out to them, don't forget that they are also a resource. I will say, Luke, this does not have to be romantic. This could absolutely be, and that's probably part of the decision that you need to make here. Do you want it to be romantic? If it's like a create your own adventure thing, right? Do you want it to be romantic? Do you want it to be platonic? And how do you guys get on the same page with that and create those boundaries around that? And I feel like that's really, really where all of this is leading to. Ruby, oh my gosh, you have no idea. It's taken me a long time, I feel like, as a reader to set my own personal boundaries on what I will and won't read. Um, Sophisticated, you are up next. Then I have Dorella as my last person. So if you didn't hear your name, use exclamation point join to join the queue. So this is such a great conversation. I remember my very first like in-person tarot reading was for a Halloween event my best friend and her partner were throwing, and she was like, "Oh, she's joined a few of my lives," and she was like, "Oh, you should. I'll set you up a table. You should like do some readings." And I just put a tip jar out. I did not like actually charge. It was just something I was like, okay, it'll be great practice. And there were definitely like points in that reading where I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely can't read about this. One person asked me about, they explained they'd gone to the doctor and they said this and they wanted my opinion. I was like, I'm not a doctor and I don't feel comfortable saying anything against someone who has literally gone to school for these things. The only thing I can suggest to you, cards aside, is to go seek a second opinion from a different doctor. And I also don't recommend you go to any other tarot readers. And anyone who will read for you on this is probably taking advantage of you because you're worried. And there are a few other situations like that. So I feel like, especially online, I see a lot of that. So let's see why there's so much tension. I will not check to see if he loves you or not. That's his business, and you can ask him. Um, why is there so much tension between y'all? So I want to clarify before I switch these cards. In questions like this, it feels there's only so much I can do for you live, right? Like, I think that there are multiple aspects to this question. Overall is understanding why there's tension, and then the other aspect is like how you can what advice or what steps you could take to resolve the tension or at least address the attention, right? So just want to put that out there. So we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. There's a lot of like earth and fire duality that's happening here, which is very interesting. So the Queen of Pentacles, queens have that water energy, pentacles have the earth energy. There's a very rooted stillness that's happening. The Queen of Pentacles is the best at growing and nurturing. So there's this very healthy balance of understanding where to set roots down, when to set roots down, building stability around her, and also how to nurture that so that it stays healthy and it stays useful to her. Oh, great. Sophisticated, good. So I think that like there's a little bit of mismatch here between the Queen and the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, Wands in general are about go, go, go. There's a lot of movement that's happening. And the Three of Wands is about wanting to expand and grow and really just always forging ahead, right? So there's this disconnect in terms of like how you're facing. The Queen of Pentacles is kind of facing back and looking down and really just wanting to focus on the things that are somewhat in the here and now, taking the things in the recent past and grow them and make them useful. Whereas there is the Three of Wands who wants to kind of do the opposite in this sort of way, where they're looking to expand and grow and just go forward. And they're looking at everything else. They're looking on the horizon. So I think that there's this tension of disconnect on how you should navigate the here and now versus actually, I'll say it this way, whether you should just navigate in the here and now versus navigating in such that you are looking to the future and moving ahead. And there's this desire where one party probably wants to sit and focus and be a little still while the other party wants to move forward and do this, that, and the other. Inherently, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's just a need to build some sort of like translation and connection here, right? Whether that be planning or just discussing like, hey, let's focus on the here and now, and these are the things that we can put on the back burner for later, whatever have you. So, I don't think that there is any malicious disconnect. In terms of your question, I know you were asking if he loves you or not. I don't really see any. I'm not looking into that, but in terms of just overall energy, it doesn't feel like it's a malicious disconnect. It feels very much more like you guys navigate things differently and haven't really come to terms with that fully, and it creates these little like roadblocks or speed bumps, or so to speak. But I feel like this is very reconcilable. I mean, in my opinion, based off of what I see here, I don't think that this is anything that you would be hugely concerned about unless it dives into situations like, you guys ultimately will never be able to converge. But it doesn't seem that far off, in my opinion. Alrighty, Ruby, you joined the queue. Dorella, you are up next. Excuse me. Then we have Ruby and Debbie. Thank you, Hatsan. You're an awesome mod. For those of you who are not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like this video for everybody. So that way it helps me get out to other people. It helps with the algorithm. It's so funny. It's like when I'm on here like any bit over an hour, Luna's just like, how dare you? It is time for us to watch TV. All right, real quick, I'm gonna take a quick bio break. I will be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. Thank you guys for being patient. Alrighty, we have up next Ruby. Go ahead, put your question. Oh, put your question in the chat. I was gonna do Ruby. I was gonna do my like cozy cat stuff, but I had to set up some stuff in this one, so I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. It's too bad. You're gonna get this through like New Year's. Oh, okay, Ruby. This one's interesting. Let's see what advice you have for improving your tarot skills. Or reading skills in general, not tarot specifically, reading skills. when I go uppies? No? Come on. You can help me do Ruby's reading. Turn around. There we go. All right. Let's see, Ruby. So you have not asked this question to me specifically. You have all fire cards. Welcome to the Sagittarius life, I guess. Our first repeat of the night is Temperance. We have the Ace of Wands, Page of Wands, Temperance. So I don't think it's about improving your skills. Based off of what I'm seeing here, it's not about improving. It's about learning and growing and using and bringing in things that you have learned to add on to the skills that you already have. But I don't look at it as necessarily improving. It's about expanding and adapting. And I think if we look at it that way, we can use the term improving. Right, Linda? Exactly. So a little background. You did a reading event. You did a reading event for the first time? Oh wow, a couple months ago. Was it like a reading party? Like where you were at a specific party and you gave readings to the participants of that party? Because I might have other advice for you, but we'll because I feel like I'm very succinct, but we'll get to that. I think I have other questions for you, and you might like maybe you can let me know. We can talk about it on Discord if you want. Um Anyways, let me get back into. I think at the end of the day, this is about what you as a reader are passionate about and why you give readings in the first place, right? I think that on top of that, there are ways to grow and expand as a reader, and how you do that could depend on what your experiences have been. Hey, Midnight, welcome. So I think the Page of Wands paired with the Ace of Wands here is really saying, like, you know, you have learned things in the past, you've done things, you've figured out your overall style as a reader, but how can you dive down a new path? Like, what is on the cusp of your horizon as being something interesting that you can dive into as a reader that can make your readings more fulfilling. And it doesn't have to be just like adding more words to paper, right? Chat GPT can do that, but like maybe it could be about how you connect with people and how you pull things out from people, or it could be what other methods of divination do you know about that can help improve the primary method of divination that you use for this for these types of readings. So this can manifest in a lot of ways. Just remember, like in the center of your reading with this page, this is the student. This is always about wanting to be willing to learn and grow. And I think that this is a sign that you need to just introduce something new to your practice of reading, but it shouldn't be something new that just like randos are saying, like, if people who don't give you readings are giving you feedback, you can take that in, but like at the same time, I don't fully believe in the customer is always right kind of mentality, right? So they might be giving you feedback from a uneducated, unknowing position and don't know how to really tell you what it is you really need to be giving them. And I think that the Ace of Wands is saying, like, okay, if you take that feedback, if you're reading between the lines, what is it that you really need to give them, right? It's not necessarily about being succinct, because I feel like I had this concern or issue or nervousness as well. and it's not about pulling more cards. And I think over the years, I have just recognized readers that I look up to who are not necessarily willing to pull more and more cards. They're not going to pull like 20 cards for a reading to get an answer for you. They're willing to dive in deeper into the cards that they already have, and it helps you expand your knowledge of the individual cards, how they interact with each other. Couldn't think of the word. How they interact with each other. And I think that might be, about going down that new path for me. So it's funny because you have this. So we have our hunker down and study kind of aspect and explore new things that seem very exciting. This is our go down the new journey, the new path, and journey down things that are interesting to you, that inspire your reading. And then we have the temperance that almost feels a little different from everything else, where this is why I felt very much like it doesn't feel like you're doing anything wrong, and it doesn't feel like you need to change anything, and it just doesn't feel like, you know, it doesn't feel like you need to improve. I feel like this is about staying down the path that you're on and just building onto it as you learn and grow naturally, and don't try to force it. Don't try to pivot down something just because someone tells you something, and you go down some path and you realize you hate it and you don't enjoy that method that someone is suggesting to you. And I mean, it's a learning lesson for sure, but at the end of the day, it's your practice, and you have your own boundaries on how you read and why you read. And all we can do is grow within those boundaries and grow those boundaries somewhat, right? We're not trying to pivot and bulldoze outside of those. Um, so I think that if I were to summarize this for you in terms of, I don't want to say improving, but growing your reading skills is about learning, finding maybe a few things that are interesting that you want to maybe adapt to your current reading style. My method out and now cards aside, my method of doing that, I like to watch other readers. I like to watch how things are done. I will recognize things that I despise, and I'll recognize things that I love, and I will add that in. Um, I also have grown a lot from utilizing other methods outside of tarot, and I incorporate them in, especially like Lenormand. That has been very helpful, and just overall understanding, like we've already talked, I will never be an expert on astrology. I will always struggle with that. It is what it is. I've accepted it. But there are other things like the elements, the numerology. There's other things within tarot that you can grow from. I will say too, I haven't done it yet, but there's other systems of tarot. So outside of Rider Waite. So now outside of tarot, I'm giving you like actionable things to kind of dive into. There's Marseille, there's Thoth. I'm very much against Thoth personally, but I still have a general idea of it. But there's things that I know that I want to explore as a reader to help grow my practice, and I think that there are some things that you can do as well in that regard. And I think at the crux of it, it doesn't have to be any one specific thing. I think it's going to be a lot of different things that it is that you discover along the way and you ingest into it. And I think that honestly, we doing more of those events, Ruby, will also help you. Even though you may feel like, oh, you didn't get the best feedback before, you might get amazing feedback in the next one. So take stuff like that, with a grain of salt, and go from there. Exactly, Luna. People need to listen to us, right? Yeah, Luna, that's right. Alrighty, let's see. Debbie, you're up next. Then I have Ari and Midnight. I'm gonna close my queue, so if you miss your turn, you're done. Nah, this is ridiculous. Okay, good. Everybody who's in it is in it. Good. I'm glad it makes sense, Ruby. I feel like it would. I just wanted to make sure I was like, all right, Debbie. I don't like to do yes or no readings, but I can't think of a like rational way to reword this. I'll kind of pull some cards and see what we get. I love how we are getting as a community this dichotomy of fire and earth. It's just so cool. Like, it's such an interesting balance that I'm seeing as a community. So we have the Ace of Swords and Two of Pentacles, and this numerologically is like very consecutive. So I feel it's very interesting. It feels very much like a start of a journey. I think that with the Ace of Wands, this is about like, you're welcome, Ruby. Thanks for asking for one. I don't think I've done a reading for you in like a hot minute. So the Ace of Wands, really like this in terms of the idea. I know you asked also like a general would be okay, but general relationship wise, this is like indicative of like the spark of something new that you can go down relationship wise. But there's also a balance here and a duality here with the Two of Pentacles. So Wands, I've been mentioning all night because it's been coming up, is a lot of movement, a lot of high energy, paired with this Pentacles here, slow, maybe non-moving, rooted energy. So I think that, in terms of your relationship and how things are gonna go, maybe there is someone out there that's thinking of you. There's a air of success that happens with aces when they pop up in readings. There's an Eric's like positivity and just overall positive answers. So yeah, maybe someone is thinking about you, but overall this is about finding the balance of starting something new and finding balance within where you are in life right now and combining them. So probably if I were to like glean a little bit more information from this, more intuitively, I feel like if we go back to our community read, which you might not have been here for, is about going with the flow but not being sucked into things. So even though you might find a spark of something new, the Two of Pentacles reminds us to remain balanced and rooted and let things happen how they're going to happen. So even if someone's thinking about you, let things play out how they're going to play out. I can't get into runes. I've tried witches runes actually. All right, Ari, you are up next, and then last but not least will be Midnight. I just can't get into the Eldar, the Elder Futhark runes. It's not my jam. You're welcome, Debbie. Lenormand is one of those weird things that is, I just need to devote time to it. Yeah, I like the witch's runes. I haven't used them regularly. Maybe it's something I'm gonna consider. And then let me see here. I also haven't used like my coins in a hot minute. I don't know. Maybe I need to give some readings like on Amino. I'd gotten really big into them for a while and then I fell off. But I really enjoyed the coins. I kind of used them in a similar method to how Lenormand is, combined with like just coins. And then I think, what do I have here? Are these the dice? No, these are the witch's runes. So I have the witch's runes. I use them mostly in tandem with like my tarot, but I need to utilize them more. Maybe I need to put them on like my nightstand and be more intentional about using them. It's a cute little case. I have tarot dice as well, which I haven't used very often. All right, snap together, damn it. Okay. I also have Ogum. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Damn it. I have, like Ogum rooms that I got from a witch's moon box. I haven't even explored these yet, but I want to one day. Yeah, Luke, watch some videos. I mean, honestly, the witch's runes are like any other runes. They have a meaning, and then you just use them how you would any other runes. Ari, can you clarify what you mean? Like, what will happen? Like, if you find your person, you guys would get married, right? Do you mean like? Can you just expand upon that? I want to make sure I'm not making assumptions. There we go. Yeah, so I guess that's what I mean is like what are you asking about? Okay, like how okay. I think I understand how the like dating phase will go and stuff like that. Getting a lot of pages as a community. Very interesting. So we have the Page of Swords and the Chariot. Pages I mentioned are the I feel like my focus for whatever reason. Um the pages are the like youthful of the court cards, and the Page of Swords specifically is like the page of curiosity. Sorry, I had to mute that. Page of curiosity. So I feel like there's this like overall kind of like overall get this message that you guys should be together, and then it sparks this curiosity that's happening, and overall I think that that curiosity built into other things, and those other things lead into the chariot. So the chariot is, even though the chariot to me is a very active card, it still imbues that energy of water. So there's still this like flow that's happening. So I feel very much like, first there's going to be this overall energy of like, you guys are curious, you guys are bonding over that stuff and things that have made you curious about each other. And then there is that exploration of the chariot where you sort of the way that I see this feels like you guys are challenging each other together. You guys are challenging each other in how you see things, and you're bonding over that. It feels very much more mental and communicative than it does physical, weirdly. But the chariot is about wanting to make this successful, and you are putting in all of the energy that you see fit to make this work, because this person is worthwhile. I'm gonna pull one more card, just because I feel like the chariot is, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Chariot seems very strange to finish on. Oh, huh. I love when tarot is like cheeky like this. Trust the message, told you the message, right? So yeah, all right, this is why I need to just trust myself. But I think, Ari, I think it's kind of cool. It almost seems like this little, like, someone's curious about you, you're curious about them, they pursue you, and it becomes this like, not like this game or anything, but like this balance of them like trying to get you to notice them in a little bit different mindset, and it becomes this thing. And I will say one of the caveats about the chariot is about wanting to be successful at all costs. So, like, don't fall into that trap, when this time comes. It's not about that. It's about enjoying the journey of winning each other over and growing with each other and building that relationship in a very exciting way with the chariot. Midnight, you do not need dice. All right, Midnight, you're up next. You're my last but not least. Let's see what the next week looks like for you. Okay, so we have the world and the tower. I don't don't remember what I pulled for you last week or for this current week that we're finishing up. I don't know if it was the world or not. Interesting balance between the world and the tower card. The world is about feeling accomplished. This is the card of like, you've reached the end goal. This is fulfilling, and ultimately you are good to go. But I wonder if in closing those chapters, it opens you up to realizing there are some things that you need to break down, and in doing so, that's why this tower card is popping up. You're welcome, Ari. So it's a very curious combination. I think that if I were to look at this overall for just next week, I think that that means that there are going to be some accomplishments that happen midnight. There are some things that you have, like long-standing things that you've been kind of wanting to, you know, close a chapter on and whatnot. But then there are going to be other things that just sort of flip the paradigm of whatever you thought was going on. Feels a little bit like some ups and downs. I would recommend to you, as like someone who does their own readings, to explore this. I would pull these two cards out and maybe expand upon the tower. Like, how can you prepare for the tower? You know, what advice do you have for the tower? Stuff like that. And your little face palm. And maybe determine in a little more depth how these two connect to each other. Like, maybe this triggers that, maybe not, maybe they're completely disconnected, but these are just two things that happen next week. But they are major arcana, so just know that they're, like, even though they're highlighted for next week in your question, these are long-standing things. These are impactful things that are long-lasting. Yeah. So I think next week is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. I always like to tell people, be careful not to manifest the things the cards are suggesting. You know, we have free will, we have planning, and this is just a general snapshot in time, and what you do tomorrow can change how that appears in the future. Alrighty, I have made it through my queue. If you didn't know, I have a Discord. You can join us over on Discord, where we talk things books, planners, divination, witchcraft, just general chit chat. If you're wanting to join us in fun community and fun conversation, feel free to join us over there. And then also Priscilla and I from Priscilla's Cozy Tower Corner, we are doing our Sunday podcast, our monthly podcast on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. So we're going to be doing a tarot tag where we talk about our one tarot deck to rule them all and our one oracle deck to rule them all. If we could not choose any one out of our collection other than the one tarot and the one oracle, what would we choose? So if you have any that come to your mind, feel free to join us. If not, and you're just curious what our picks are going to be, then, join us anyway. And we'll see you on Sunday if you join us for live. If you would like to catch me later, I will be live next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great weekend. Oh, yeah, thank you to my lovely mods. Bye, y'all.